What would be the best investment opportunities right now? One bad investment to stay away from. What would be baby steps to actually allocate funds?
Remember, Bitcoin is not regulated in India.
We talk finances with the CEO and co-founder of FinSafe and Womanthra, someone with over 24 years of experience in the financial sector. Mrin Agarwal checks into Money Talks. This episode is presented by Bodycoat. Give your car the Bodycoat treatment. They have a free valet service anywhere in Bangalore. They're completely paperless and app-based, eco-friendly with usage of water to a fraction. Check them out. Also, subscribe to our channel, tap that bell icon. It gives you 10 years of good luck. I'm serious. Try it out. Enjoy this episode. Talk to me about what's going on with the current sentiment. 2020 was insane. It was crazy. There wasn't a handbook for anyone to refer to. Here we are, 2021. Are things looking optimistic, positive?
Well, if you look at the markets, they certainly are looking extremely optimistic and extremely positive. And it's really surprising that, from lows, we kind of recovered so well in 2020, and as we ended 2020, most asset classes, which is equities, international equities, gold, are at their all-time highs, and interest rates are at the all-time lows. So it's a kind of a unique situation because normally you don't see all asset classes being at their peak, which is what you're seeing right now. But at the same time, if you look at the macroeconomic situation and you look at the macroeconomic numbers, they really do not tell you a great story.
If I were to ask you about what would be the best investment opportunities right now, what would you say are the top three?
The best investment opportunities are always those that meet your financial goals. And I think, this is where it's a good time to take a step back and look at where you are. First of all, have you formed those financial goals? Because most people actually follow trends and get into products without really figuring out whether this is going to help them meet a goal. And actually, you'll be surprised to know, Sriram, less than probably 1% of people actually do a financial plan or even follow one. So I think the first step right now as we start 2021 would be to really figure out what are your financial goals, and then figure out the products that would actually meet those goals, because something that might work for you may not work for me. And I'll give an example out here that if I have a financial goal that is 10 years away, so I might be willing to take the risk and put the money in equities, but you may not. And you might say, okay, I'll just buy gold. Like, I'm not a person who likes to invest in real estate that much. I would still prefer to put my money in financial markets. So I think it's always good to have a spread, because no asset class always remains at the top, or there's no one asset class that's always performing. There was a 5-year period when gold gave zero return, but we've forgotten that period, and that was between 2013 and 18, right? Yeah. So I think it's good to diversify assets. And again, in India, we see that people are very skewed towards having only real estate and gold in their portfolio. So maybe such investors need to diversify into equities as well.
Right. When it comes to youngsters investing, have you noticed a trend in terms of a particular area where they seem to be investing?
At present, it seems to be all exciting investments. Right. A lot of people investing into cryptocurrencies, a lot of people investing into peer-to-peer lending as well, or buying international stocks.
Right. And would you say that's fruitful?
So there is extra tax compliance involved, because when you file the ITR, you're going to have to file ITR 2, and there's a schedule of foreign assets where you have to declare a lot of information. And declaring the information is not difficult, but the point is that, it just makes things a little bit more cumbersome. There are other ways that you can invest into international markets. So I think, I really think that, one of the biggest issues right now is that people love chasing trends. And since Bitcoin has had a great year, a lot of people are looking at investing into Bitcoin. But remember, Bitcoin is not regulated in India, and there are no standard rules and operating procedures on Bitcoin in India as well. A lot of the platforms that exist are very new, so they don't have any history or pedigree behind them. So, I think when you are choosing an investment, two things that you need to always look at. One, is it regulated? And two, what is the risk associated with this investment? So, it's easy to invest in bull markets. It's that much more difficult to invest in bear markets.
Right. The fact that it's unregulated, I guess that's what makes it so interesting and exciting for a lot of the youngsters. There are also these short-term loans that are provided every now and then. And do you see a lot of borrowers for short-term loans that come in?
Absolutely, whether it's buy now, pay later, personal loans, Insta loan, even salary loans, which is these short-term loans that you take till the time you get your salary credit. And surprisingly, these loans are for small amounts. They're like 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 rupees. The problem with all of these loans is that the interest rates are not known. So they always tell you what's the EMI. And because the amount that you're borrowing is small, you don't end up calculating. But some of the Insta loans are actually lending you at like 400%.
400%.
And forget that. I mean, credit card loans are at 42%. Your salary does not increase by 42%, and neither can you generate those returns from your investment portfolio. So you really need to think, why are you paying a credit card company 42% then?
My God. All right, let's talk about loans, because picking a personal loan, a home loan, so that you have a roof over your head is of a lot of aspirations. But there is this old school way of thinking where pick up a loan, have a house of your own, which is very, very important. And what have you noticed there in terms of taking a home loan? Would you still say it's preferable?
Yeah, it is preferable. I mean, right now the interest rates are really low. I don't think that they'll fall more than this. But when you are taking a home loan, try to ensure that you do at least 40% down payment, and try to limit the EMI to below 50% of your salary, because we do see a lot of people who have EMIs up to 70 to 80% of their incomes, right? So it's not bad to take a loan if you've decided to buy a house, but try to limit it to an extent only.
Right. And when it comes to say good saving practices, what would be baby steps to actually allocate funds?
So I think, the first thing is to follow a budgeting rule, and we normally propagate the 30-30-40 rule, which is 30% EMIs, 30% expenses, and 40% savings.
40% savings.
Yeah, I know the number seems really high. A lot of people today in India are at below 10%.
Yeah.
But yes, that's the amount of money that you need to be saving. And I think another very important thing is to have some amount kept aside for discretionary expenses. So in the 30% expenses, have some amount of money that is allocated towards fun expenses, so that you don't miss out on having the fun as well.
From the figures that you actually gave in here, would you say that medical may be something that people need to consider, because of late the health scare and probably visiting a hospital comes so unexpected. I've heard of a few financial experts talking about how a term insurance is probably a must-have in today's world. Would you still recommend it?
I would, and the premiums that you pay for it would come under the expenses part. Yes, I would highly recommend a term plan which covers the risk of your life. I would also recommend a health insurance, and for a lot of folks who are salaried, they might be having covers from their employers. But it's important to also ensure that you're covered for the right amount, because we do see that India is a very underinsured country in terms of, first of all, the number of people taking insurance, and then even those who have taken insurance are underinsured themselves, right? So don't only rely on the employer cover. I would suggest take another policy outside the employer cover as well.
Lovely. Mrin, you're also associated with Womantra. You've always stressed on the importance of women having financial independence, and that matters a whole lot. Talk to me about Womantra.
Essentially, this was something that I just started out of my passion, and lifelong I've been an investment advisor, but I do see a huge financial literacy gap in the educated people in India, and which is why I have set up FinSafe and Womantra. With women even more, because first and foremost, there is a difference between economic independence and financial independence. So economic independence is just earning a salary. But if you're going to earn that salary and just come and give it to a man of the family, for example, you're not really going to be financially independent, because you have no clue as to where your money is going or how it's invested or how it's being used, right? So the first thing that I think most women need to be aware of is that just earning an income is not enough, right? Managing that income and being able to live the life that you want to is what is financial independence, right? And the whole idea is to basically educate women on how they can manage their money. Sriram, you'll be surprised to know that even when you do a financial plan for someone, the husband and wife might have completely different goals or outlook to the goal as well. And it's just that, nobody's ever spoken to the women about what their financial goals are, right? All women's financial goals are assumed to be like their partner's goals, right? So I think the whole idea was just to educate women to kind of manage their finances better.
We see a lot of people just scurrying to file ITR returns just before the last minute. How much of financial education is there in our country overall?
Very low, because it's not something that's done at school. It's not something that's done at college. Households do not talk about it. Like even today, parents don't talk about it to their children. In fact, today the social structure has become such where parents are saying that we'll work really hard and we'll provide you everything, but they're actually not getting the children to value, the sacrifices that they're making for it. And I think it's really important, for children also to have some basic literacy as well. Even we work with a lot of companies on financial well-being of their employees, and again what we find is that people are just investing in a very ad hoc way. A lot of people are filing IT returns at the last moment. There are so many questions that come through, basic questions that people are not aware about. So I think financial literacy is really important. Incidentally, just like to share that financial well-being is a very big employee benefit program overseas, right, which is not the case in India right now.
One habit or one bad investment to stay away from, what would it be?
Something that people have done for decades, which is investment-linked insurance, which is ULIP, endowment, money back, child plan, pension plan, all of these investment-linked insurance policies, because the returns from these policies are very low and they don't actually beat inflation.
Right, but it's archaic, and over the years I think it's deep rooted to
absolutely
actually making that happen, because at one point of time that was the hottest selling plan.
Oh, it's still very hottest selling, I mean, right. Every year insurance sales are pretty high, but stay away from it because it's not beating inflation.
Right. Well, thank you so very much, Mrin, for all the expert advice. I really appreciate your time and taking us through finance and having a better understanding of it. Some of the key points that I'd like to stress upon is to sit and at least have an awareness about starting to plan your finances better. You can of course log on to FinSafe because this is a plug that you'd naturally like to give. What exactly can one find on FinSafe?
Actually, on our website you can get a couple of calculators, but on our YouTube page I run a vlog where I'm taking people through steps of investing, and we also come out with a lot of other videos on various different topics, which is investing, borrowing, planning, everything. So how do you reduce your loan rates, your EMIs for example, or I also review various new fund offers and stuff like that. So there's a whole lot of content on the YouTube page, and I would certainly suggest people to check it out because it's in a very simple way and there's absolutely no selling or there's no product recommendation out there or no brand recommendation.
Thanks again for your time. Really appreciate you being part of Money Talks and look forward to having you here again so that we can dig deeper into other subjects as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Sriram. Thanks for having me.